Sure, we can watch it. Let's see how Kharkiv is resisting Russia's invasion. Let's take a look. New Vice video just dropped.
This is central Kharkiv, and there are streets that have been completely destroyed like this all over the city. This is a region that has close cultural ties to Russia. It's a Russian-speaking city, yet this is what Russian bombs have done to this area. The fighting has started to intensify. Again, we can hear a lot of explosions throughout the day. Most of the civilians have now moved underground, or they've...
I tried to find out why Hasan is so disliked, but it basically came down to he's a commie douchebag. Yeah, welcome to America, where that's enough for someone to just like have a tremendous amount of disdain for you. I know that there are timestamps. Do you not see it? Bido, who sent the video, gave me the timestamp, so I put it in the search bar here so I can easily access it. Yes, there's a lot of graphic footage in here, I know.
Completely. This is a business center, and there are buildings like this that have been destroyed everywhere you go.
Вот здесь была служба безопасности, с той стороны УВД области. Вот, поэтому меня ноги плохо держат, а если хорошо меня держали, я могу и хорошо и стрелять, и так далее, и тому подобное.
So Putin says that this is a special operation, not a war. What do you say about that?
Какой хер операция, извиняюсь за выражение, переводите дословно.
Fuck him.
Где тот хер,
He says, where is that fucking, excuse me, localized strike? One of the most beautiful European cities is being destroyed. It's showing the,
Russian forces swept towards Kharkiv in the first days of fighting, destroying the local government building.
Wait, there is no TOS here. I don't know why you guys were saying there's TOS here. What the fuck? I don't think there is. These timestamps might not be correct.
Across the region, hundreds are thought to have been killed so far. But weeks later, bodies are still being found in the rubble. And rescue workers believe that there's a body of a woman who's a grandmother that is still on the 4th floor, and they're trying to get to that today. The reality is that it's believed there are many more people dead than the official figures claim, because there are so many people who are missing.
Bro, what the fuck is going on with this, the dude? Jesus Christ. Okay, hold up. I'll look at the timestamps from building being bombed, lots of dead bodies, 4:15 to 5:40. Okay. All of this is... Remember, Kharkiv is also, once again, and I said this before when they were bombing it, Kharkiv in and of itself is like a city that is not expressly anti-Putin, or wasn't, rather, expressly anti-Russia or anti-Putin. Certainly that has changed since this wonderfully brilliant strategic action by the 5D chess master Vladimir Putin himself. So, you know, if it wasn't before, it is certainly now.
Missing.
According to Vice, bro, you're crazy. You're crazy. This is what they're doing to a pro-Russia city, okay? A city known as a pro-Russia city. It's the most pro-Russia city outside of like the independent people's republics.
7 months strong. Slava.
Or whose bodies haven't been found. Every day, missiles are falling on the city. Despite this, Volodymyr Gorbakov, the head of Kharkiv's rescue service, and his team continue to risk their lives to find survivors.
Смотрите, в результате попадания авиационного снаряда или бомбы произошло частичное разрушение пятиэтажного дома. На данный момент упали перекрытия крыши 5-го и 4-го этажа на 3-й этаж.
You believe that there's somebody who's trapped on the 4th floor. How did you find out about this person?
По информации ее сына, она находилась в момент попадания бомбы или ракеты в
He was there when the bomb or missile hit her house.
Его дома не было.
He wasn't home.
Все, окей. Пойдемте наверх. Скажите, аккуратно, везде стекла разбиты.
What is your aim here, and how long is it going to take?
Все зависит от того, что
If there's an air alert, if there's interference, if there's more fighting, so we work as quickly as possible.
So far, at least half Kharkiv's population are thought to have fled the region. So many people have left this city.
Holy shit, that's crazy. That is insane. I mean, dude. It just goes to show you like how immediate that shit was. You know what I mean? The bombing occurred. The bombing occurred literally like as people were just like living their normal lives, you know? Okay, there's a body coming up now, so I'm gonna hide it in a second.
Ever something that you considered fleeing from this war?
Нет. Это мой город.
Because this is my town.
Нам надо помогать.
We have to help. We're an emergency service.
Если не мы, то
No one will help, but we don't.
You're speaking to me in Russian, not Ukrainian. This city has a historical relationship with Russia. What is your feeling towards Russia now?
Я не хочу о них.
Frankly, I don't want to think about them. They did this to our city, our Ukraine. There's a body coming up. People close to each other nationally and spiritually don't do this. He's right. We have nothing in common now. By the way, what he is explaining is exactly what I was saying about Kharkiv when they first started bombing it, when they first started shelling it. And this is also part of the reason why I tell you all the fucking time to like not listen to I mean, obviously it's like super, super fucking far you know, there's a tiny, tiny, insignificant, inconsequential fraction of the people out there that, you know, try to defend Putin. It's not like a large pocket of the left or anything like that. But if you are one of those people that like seeks that information out, I urge you to understand that this is like horrifying and completely untrue. Could not be further from the truth. Oh, Jesus. They just straight showed the fucking frozen dead grandmother, dude. Yikes, boys.
This is 73-year-old Natalia Belenko.
She's straight up
Gorbakov's
frozen.
team now has to break the news to her son.
Тимур. Тимур. Нашли мы маму.
We found your mother. We found the documents. I know I'm full screen.
Victims of Russian attacks, like Natalia Belenko, are being taken to city morgues.
There's
but they're
more dead
already
bodies.
overflowing, so bodies are being stored outside. Some are being left for days because their families have either fled or are too scared to
There's just
come
dead
and claim
bodies
them.
on the roads, dude. I can't show you any of this.
Rows of bodies here, and there's even more in the basement.
Plus, you don't want to see any of this anyway. There's just like straight fucking... There are straight up dead bodies frozen on the side of the fucking roads, man. You don't want to see that. I promise. They just are showing dead bodies on the side of the fucking roads for a minute straight.
The vast majority that we're seeing civilians. There are some soldiers as well, and we know that there are a lot.
Did they not show that shit in the Reality of War be shown, or am I tripping? No, I don't. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Like, you can get the point across by just saying there are fucking dead bodies everywhere. You don't have to literally see fucking frozen toes and shit sticking out of a goddamn bag, dude. It's literally war porn.
A lot more inside. Even in their death, they can't escape this war because we can constantly hear the sound of incoming and outgoing fire as well. The strikes kept getting louder and closer.
They're still, literally still showing dead bodies. Like, up until this moment. Just only dead bodies. Okay, I think it's good now, from here on out.
We've just had to run inside because there's a huge explosion outside. We don't know what it is. Two members of Ukraine's territorial defense force were killed in the attack. Rescue crews removed still burning rubble to try and find victims.
Rigging shackles.
Ukrainian military commanders say they can hold off ground troops.
People whose only exposure to war is movies and video games get value from seeing the gore, fear, suffering, and horror of war IRL. Not everyone is in touch as you are. I don't know, man. I've seen too much of this shit. I don't think it's good to see it. I think it's disrespectful to the victims too. I think people literally fucking why would you disrespect someone so horribly? They're literally dead. They're dead and you're showing their dead body be carried. Would you want your mother in that situation? You know what I mean? Would you want your mother, God forbid some shit like this happens to her? Would you want the entire planet to be able to see her in her last moment, in her weakest moment, just fucking frozen, being carried out with all of her clothes and everything, like, or even if she doesn't have clothes? It's like, these are human beings, man. These aren't fucking props. Brother, there's a reason why Americans don't show caskets. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a fucking reason why in the United States of America, we stopped showing caskets of fucking soldiers. We don't even show the caskets of dead soldiers coming home. It's disrespectful. Part of the reason is because they don't want you to understand the human toll of it, certainly. So I do see that side of the argument when you're mentioning like showing dead bodies. But also because it's literally, you don't see that. You don't see when you fully consider in American media, when you fully consider human beings as like whole human beings and not just props, you never show them in their worst moments. You don't see Americans in this position usually. You don't really see this shit.
I'd like to share that Ukraine is going to be releasing an NFT collection.
But the region is being pummeled by Russian artillery and air power.
But right now, Russia is trying to encircle the city, it's trying to surround the city. How far are they getting?
Kharkiv по-прежнему находится не в окружении.
Kharkiv is not surrounded. So we're fighting and are actually doing okay on the front line.
Ситуация на фронте вполне нормальная. Русские уничтожают город.
The Russians destroy the city because they cannot do anything else. They cannot occupy it on the ground.
Взять суши, поэтому на земле, поэтому они бьют по городу целенаправленно, уничтожают этот город. Какая итоговая цель, я не представляю.
What is the biggest threat that you're facing right now?
Это самая большая проблема, это ракетные удары.
Our biggest problem is rocket strikes. This is why we're asking our Western partners to close the sky.
Партнеров на Западе закрыть небо Украины, потому что все, что происходит на земле, мы успешно справляемся с русскими войсками. И с нами правда, поэтому
the truth is on our side. Everything will be fine. There's more wounded people here that they're going to show in a second. Okay, that's not that bad. It's just a guy with his leg fucked up.
This hospital is one of the closest to the front line. We're only 30 kilometers away from Russia. A lot of the injured civilians and soldiers are brought here, and as well as frontline medics having to deal with that, we can also hear constant shelling in the background.
In fact, this hospital in Kharkiv is so close to the fighting, medics here can see rocket fire if they look out the window. With Russia attacking hospitals in other cities, patients here are being kept in corridors because they offer more protection. This woman was in an attack that killed her sister and son. She says she had to carry his remains down 8 flights of stairs.
Can you explain to me what happened to you?
Christ.
My
21-year-old son hugged me in the morning and said, "Mom, don't be afraid, it will be okay." My sister, a beautiful 37-year-old. My son, my boy. He was just torn into pieces in front of my eyes. I just carried him like this, covered in blood. Please do something, it can't be like this.
Can you talk me through how you lost your leg?
Я вышла в магазин, тихо было.
I went to the shop while it was quiet, so I stood in line. Like so notice how I don't have a problem with them showing this amputation, because there's consent. You get to see the human toll very easily with what that lady just described. You get to see the human toll very easily with this old lady. leg has been amputated. You don't need to see every fucking body in a body bag to be able to understand it. That's the difference. This is what the tank is on the online left support, by the way. Shut the fuck up, dude. There's like 8 people that support this, and you are brain broken. You are brain broken into thinking that they are broadly representative of anything else. Like, yeah, those people are fucking idiots. And unironically, the reason why I don't even talk about it, the reason why I don't even talk about those people is because all they're looking for is literally clout. So stop giving them the fucking dumbass clout. Stop. You're just straight up giving into their interests, because they don't give a fuck about Russia, or they don't give a fuck about Ukraine. They just care about clout. They want to maintain prominence, okay, and get attention. They switch over their points of view like the seasons. There's new arcs for their POV every fucking goddamn week. If you have any sort of moral integrity, then you know where people stand on issues, okay? But ultimately, there's like 3 of them. So why the fuck do you constantly find yourself worried about that? Why are you so desperate to be like, I'm different. I'm a good leftist. I'm different than those guys. Shut the fuck up. No one cares about those people, okay? Stop.
Стояли, люди стали в очереди, ни с того ни с чего самолет пролетел, начал бомбить. И вот отвезли, скоро потеряла сознание уже. Больше ничего не помню. Я только за мир.
I want peace everywhere.
Чтоб не было обстрела, люди
I want
мирные
peaceful people to
погибали.
die in the shelling. I don't want peaceful people to die in the
Kharkiv
shelling. Kharkiv used to be a great city.
Просто не
I can't even
описать.
describe
Красивый
it. So
какой.
beautiful.
Свобода была, что хотели, делали.
We were free
And
and
you
did what
believe
we
you'll have freedom
wanted.
again?
Верю. Верю.
Yes, I
вот
believe I'll
верю.
have freedom again.
Наши победят. У нас ребята
I'm
молодцы,
confident
они
we'll win. Our
отстаивают.
boys will stand their ground. There's a kid going into surgery. If anything changed from yesterday, it's because I don't like how it's looking.
Dima Kasyanov was injured in a Russian rocket strike which damaged his brain. Heat from the explosion has also hurt his lungs and stomach. He's currently being kept in a coma. Dr. Alexandra Dukovsky keeps the boy's mother informed of the results of a brain scan.
Мы не можем уже ждать.
We can't wait any longer.
Делать ему вот это вот.
That's why we're going
Dukovsky
to
is
the skull
Kharkiv's
now.
chief pediatric surgeon. He's been living at the hospital since the bombardments began.
Під час ракетного нападу ракета потрапила
A
до
rocket
його
struck
квартири,
his
до
flat during the
помешкання.
attack.
Він потрапив в
center of the
епіцентр
explosion.
вибуху. У нього є уламок,
Okay, that's enough, dude. Jesus
який
Christ.
знаходиться на
In the base of
основі
his skull.
черепу.
That's in his
Shrapnel.
shrapnel in his
They show the shrapnel in the base of his fucking
Why
skull.
don't you show
Jesus
Yemen,
fucking
Haiti,
Christ. Okay,
Syria,
that you can
Israel,
see.
or
That you
any other
should
black
see.
community in
Yes,
the
yes,
world?
yes, yes.
I guess they're not
Коли
black,
цей
When this rocket fragment got through the
улам
soft
ракети,
tissue,
він пройшов через м'які ткани, він потрапив до
It
сонної
got to the
артерії.
carotid
І
artery
пошкодив
and
її.
damaged it.
Тому ми не
That's why
змогли
we couldn't
зразу
operate
зробити йому
on him
хірургічне
immediately.
втручання,
That's
бо
why we
це дуже
couldn't, because it would
опасно для
endanger his
життя.
life.
То нам потрібно
We will have
буде
to conduct
робити
a
йому
decompressive
декомпресивну
cranial
трепанацію
drilling.
черепа, щоб зменшити
We need to
тиск.
reduce the pressure on the
на
healthy parts of
здоровий
his
мозок.
brain.
Are you afraid?
Дуже боляче в серці,
It breaks my heart
As a mum, I am crushed seeing the hurt for all these kids and
that
people.
It's okay.
Sorry. А рідний Харків потерпає від цієї навали. Ну, ми переможемо. Слава Україні!
but we'll win. Glory to Ukraine.
Despite Dukovsky's best efforts, Dima died a few days later. He was 8 years old.
That's why. This
Weeks
is
after
why
she was
we're
killed,
anti-war.
Natalia Belenko's family are finally able to hold a funeral.
This war has been so unpredictable and no one knows how it's going to end, but the one thing we do know is that it's the poorest and the most vulnerable who will suffer the most. and there'll be many, many more victims.
Героям слава! Слава нації! Смерть ворогам!
Timur Belenko, Natalia's son, lived just across the road from her.
How would you like your mother to be remembered?
Как веселого человека, который всегда всем помогает. Ну и помогает.
He always helped others. People always called her,
Все всегда звонили ей, спрашивали.
asking for advice, sisters, brothers.
Братья. Звонит мама.
Getting used to it.
День, утром и вечером
I used to talk to her every morning and evening.
Если бы я увидел ее сразу, я как бы
If I'd seen her right away, but I didn't, and she laid there for how long? 10 days? For 10 days.
Лежала там.
Can you explain to the world why people in Kharkiv are staying in their homes?
Они думают, что к ним не прилетит.
They think they won't get hit. Some children leave them, they say. You young people should go, and everyone leaves.
Но вообще все пенсионеры
But all the
сидят дома,
retirees sit at home.
ждут какой-то
They
помощи,
expect some
может,
help and think the war might be ending.
закончится война. Ну и мама тоже.
My mom did too.
Не боялась, так прилетела. В двух словах.
Wasn't afraid and she got
How do you
hit.
feel towards Russia right now?
Всех там ввожу там санкциями разными. Пусть они тоже похлебают то, что мы хлебаем. То, что они бросают своих
Let them
людей,
feel what we feel. The
детей
fact that they
здесь
abandon their
умирают.
people and their children to die here is their problem.
И матери даже не знают,
Their
что
mothers don't even know they
они
went
поехали
to
воевать на учение.
fight in a war.
Residents of Kharkiv who've been left here have moved into metro stations, which are also bomb shelters. Parents, fearing for their children's safety, have taken them underground. Alona Artmenko is living inside a train after her home was hit.
Is this everything that you brought from your house?
By the way, when that happens to you, when that happens to your family, of course you're gonna fucking join whoever the fuck you can find that's gonna give you a gun. Okay, I hope you understand that. And the reason why I think that's important to recognize is because this kind of coverage almost never, I'm sorry to admit this, but almost never ever is extended to the people in Afghanistan, to the people in Yemen, to the people in Syria, to the people in Iraq. So understand that this is not an issue when we talk about like terror in the modern world, like Muslim terror. Understand that those people they have nothing. They have even less than the Ukrainian people have in this situation, because at least the Ukrainian people have allyship with the rest of the modern world, with the rest of the Western world. Those people have nowhere to fucking go. Perhaps this will be an opportunity for you to better recognize and have a more serious anti-war, anti-imperialist perspective when you watch this, okay? You'll get a better sense of what Palestinians go through when you see this. Because they're still people, you know? Where is Ukraine allies? Where? The entirety of the planet is aligned with Ukraine. The entirety of the Western world is aligned with Ukraine. They're using Western weapons against Russia. They're able to evacuate into Western countries that are protected. What the fuck are you talking about? I remember a Taliban commander saying that I don't need propaganda. When an American drone hits a village of 30 people, come to me willingly because they lost their relatives. America does the propaganda for me. Yep. Yeah, that's why the Taliban, despite being fucking ripped to shreds by the American military for 20 years, kept picking up numbers. They kept increasing in size, even though they had fuckload of casualties. How do you think that happened? That's why, from the jump, my first fucking fear immediately was the moment that Russia invades Ukraine, it's over. First day of the invasion, I tweeted something like, it's over. It's gonna be so much death and destruction. Obviously, first and foremost, in the hands of Russians. All that blood is on their hands. Okay, on the Russian forces, on Vladimir Putin specifically. But the secondary consequence of that is also going to be people seeing the most reactionary nationalist forces as emancipatory forces, like forces of liberation, an endless cycle of violence that seemingly has no immediate or no long-term solution even. Every day that goes by where there is no negotiations, there's no cessation of fighting. Every day that happens, it's going to get worse. That's another 2 years. There's another year on the lapse of violence that will overtake Ukraine in the aftermath. And the fucking dumbasses that compare this to Crimea are so disgusting, like that donator. Because this did not happen in Crimea, you fucking idiot. Kharkiv is a pretty fucking favorable to Russia city. It's a pretty pro-Russia city. I just showed you 15 minutes of fucking people, Russian speakers in Kharkiv, disgusted with the violence that they're experiencing. And if your first opinion is like, was. If you think that this is in any way comparable to Crimea, you're doing a disservice to the people in Kharkiv, okay? But you can't recognize it. Shut the fuck up.
Да, вот столик, посуда, 2 стульчика там у нас.
Is that your cat?
Да.
Can you take me back to that night when the war started?
В 5 утра мы вскочили от взрывов. Мы сразу...
What? You were saying it's over? You're not saying it's over. You were saying it's not happening ever. Don't act like you predicted the future. Dude, the type of brain cancer that these fucking idiots have is literally stopping them from understanding anything I'll ever say, I think. My friend, first and foremost, even if I literally was like, even if your assessment is true, which it isn't, because you completely failed to understand that the reason I said Russia would never fucking invade Ukraine is quite literally this, what's happening right now. That it would be the dumbest strategic thing for Russia to do. It would be incredibly violent. The occupation would be bloody and brutal, and they would get their shit pushed in, okay? Because 44 million people with a history of sovereignty and wanting sovereignty, regardless of however many, regardless of however many fucking people you think are going to be pro-Russia in that country, are 100% going to turn on you. And there's going to be a counterinsurgency. I've been saying this since the jump. Even that fucking famous famous Twitter message, the famous tweet that people love pointing at, where I said, I'll die on this hill. That literally features every single prediction that is correct and as to why my conclusion was that Russia would not invade Ukraine. My conclusion was wrong, but every premise as to why I arrived at that conclusion has played out in front of our fucking eyes. And it doesn't even matter. Even if I was completely in the wrong, 2 months later, that's all you care about? Whether I was right or wrong? What's wrong with you? It doesn't matter whether I was right or wrong.
Russia this, Russia that.
Fuck, man. People are going to keep baiting on him every single day with this, aren't they? Yeah, this is the last, today, hopefully this will be the last time we talk about it. You literally always talk about whether you were right or wrong, and that's what triggers you the most, lol. Yes, because people try to undermine the analysis that I'm offering here. I wonder why that fucking upsets me.
Another one.
Yeah, I should just let people lie and say that my positions were completely fucking idiotic instead, even if they're correct. How is this literally any different? You're doing the thing. How is this any different than just take this L? Just take the L, bro. Come on. People saying take the L over and over again. It's completely unrelated to the conversation that we're having right now. You are selfish. I need everyone to understand. The reason why I'm banning these subs is because they are literally selfish. Not only was my assessment correct, my prediction was incorrect because of the but the assessment was absolutely correct. And we're watching it unfold. I've also apologized for it. And if they're still fucking trying to whip me in the head over it, that's because they are selfish. They want to center themselves around this conversation. And the reason why I'm banning them is not because, I'm getting pushback or, constructive criticism. The reason why I'm banning them is because if I didn't ban them, we would have this conversation over and over again. And it's so fucking incredible that, You can watch 15 minutes of people being brutalized by this violent occupational force, and your immediate goal is, how do I get this streamer to be angry at my fucking chatter, at my chat?
Поняли, что это война, и мы собрали то, что могли, и спустились в метро. На третий день это случилось. К нам прилетела бомба. Это все, дома больше нет.
We have no home now, so we're living here now.
Живем. Дочка наша была в квартире, она пошла там кое-какие вещи собрать. Ее первой волной
Until the first wave hit her, she got a bit wounded with the glass.
Ну, слава богу, она выжила.
Thank God she's alive.
After days in the shelter, Eleanor Asmenko went to see what was left of her apartment.
Это мой дом, окна с той стороны. Не очень было. Это мой двор был.
Oh my God, the destruction in front of us is just unbelievable.
Это было здесь комната детей. Все, нет ни
There aren't any
дверей, ни
doors or
окон
windows
здесь нет.
anymore.
Здесь тоже все
Everything is broken
потрогано.
here too.
И
What goes through your mind when you see what's happened to your home?
я не знаю, как это объяснить.
I don't know how to explain
Мне
it.
очень
I
больно каждый раз,
I
когда
feel pain
возвращаюсь.
each time I return here.
Понимаете, я здесь
I grew
выросла,
up here,
здесь
my kids
выросли
grew up
мои
here
дети,
also.
и даже злости нет.
I don't even have anger,
Больно
just
ему.
pain, just void.
Пустота какая-то.
Do you think you'll ever be able to return here to your home and live here?
Нам бы очень хотелось, но,
We'd like to, but perhaps this house can't be
наверное, этот
repaired.
дом уже не восстановят. Вы знаете, я сейчас сама не понимаю, как мы даже...
Interview people chosen by Vice, man. I'm not saying they love Russia or whatever, but we can't sit here and say Russia equals propaganda, but this is totally objective. No, of course this is not objective. This is Vice. Of course they're doing propaganda at the behest of Western interests. Everything they cut out is propaganda at the behest of Western interests. But it doesn't fucking matter because it doesn't take away from the reality, dude. What do you mean? Like, I mean, this is real. This is very fucking real for these people, okay? And this assessment is not unique to just me. There are even fucking Russian analysts who see this and recognize this, okay? There are people that you probably also rely on, like Mark Ames and whatnot, that also recognize this and talk about it regularly. It's crazy to just, say, oh, this is propaganda. What difference does it make? Yes, it's propaganda, but it's also fucking real. This is real. It's like, don't turn into one of those liberals who says, oh, Azov Nazis, well, it's real, but it's Russian propaganda to talk about it. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Why are you turning into the exact same thing that you rightfully criticize liberals for doing? You know what I mean? Of course there's propaganda here. Of course. They're doing war propaganda.
Если закончится война, выйдем, куда нам идти, что нам делать? Наверное, мы сейчас просто хотим, чтобы это все закончилось. Вот. Ну, а дальше уже будет видно.
How is it propaganda? Guys, understand this. Not all propaganda is bad. I do propaganda. I do agitated propaganda, for example. When I say this is propaganda, I mean like this is clearly on the Ukrainian side and also on the Western side, more importantly than the Ukrainian side. If Ukrainians were not of interest to the West, they would not get this kind of coverage. Let's be real.